Happy Wednesday, everyone. I hope you are having a great start to your week and looking forward to Christmas Eve tomorrow. We are on Christmas Eve day. We are excited and looking forward to it. Hopefully, you can hear me okay. As most of you know, this is not my normal office, this is not my normal spot. I don't know if I've told some of you this, but my 3-year-old actually shares her room and my office are in the same room. So she usually naps downstairs in her sister's room, and I do my work and things in my office during the day. But we were running late for nap and we were having a little out of sorts day. So I put her in her bed in my original office. So here I am in another space in the house in a bonus room. So I hope everyone can hear me okay. Things are a little out of the ordinary, but I wanted to jump on today for a pop-up live. I've had a lot of questions, especially leading into the upcoming holidays, and I know a lot of families are just have a lot of questions going around. 2020 has been interesting to say the least, and a lot of families are coming to me just with a lot of questions. So I thought I'm going to have a pop-up live today. You ask the questions, and I'm going to answer those for you. There won't be this Friday, as that'll be Christmas Day. I won't be doing my usual live Q&A day. So if the post pops up, you can post on the live Q&A post. Feel free to, but I won't be answering questions this Friday. I will get to those next week, but feel free to ask those questions on Friday, but I wanted to go ahead and do this live today for you. So I'm going to go through, I've got a lot of different technology posted up here. So I'm going to go through questions that you all had, and I'm going to answer those for you. So let's get started because I have a lot of questions today. So I want to be sure that I answer all of those for you. If you have additional questions, always feel free to comment. I'll comment back or I'll write you back later if you have additional questions that you have. Also, if you feel free, I am booking into 2021 now. So if you want to hop on those 15-minute free discovery calls and let's chat further about what's going on. And a lot of times you may just need more one-on-one help to finally get the piece of the puzzle going in the right direction. And we most certainly can do that too. So the first question I have is, any tips for sanity when transitioning baby out of swaddle and transitioning toddler to a toddler bed simultaneously? It's looking like it's going to be our post-Christmas goal. So first, those are two huge goals. Two of the biggest things you will probably do is take out of the swaddle and transition to a sleep sack and transition to the toddler bed. I would actually probably sit down first and chat with your spouse or significant other about how you want to go about it, because it's going to take both of you. I highly recommend doing one and then the other, just because they're huge tasks and huge goals. So obviously the first one I would look at is transitioning out of the swaddle first, because that's the one that's most important. And especially, I don't know if baby's rolling or going through milestones and things, that's going to be the first thing you want to address. So I would do that one first. And on my blog, and I will share with you, I have a blog all about transitioning out of the swaddle, what signs you should look for, how you should go about it, what you should be doing. When you're swaddling out of the transition, there's a lot of different ways to do it, but you need to have a game plan first in place. You need to decide, are you going to do cold turkey? Are you going to start with overnight sleep only? Are you going to start with naps only? Or are you going to do them at the same time? If you have a Love to Dream or Wombi type swaddle where the sleeves zip off, those are awesome because you literally can zip a sleeve off at a time and do the one arm out. If you have the Halo or the Nested Bean traditional swaddle, you want to, I find it best to take one arm out and leave the other one wrapped until they get used to that, and then go from there. With that being said, if you decide you want to do both at the same time, just know once you commit to it. And it's okay if you start to go and get both of them. You want to transition to the toddler bed and you want to get out of the swaddle at the same time, and you get into it and you're like, this is way too overwhelming, then step back and only choose one. Again, I would probably go for the removing the swaddle first. When you're transitioning to the toddler bed, what a lot of people forget is you need to be talking to your toddler about it. That's why I like, if if a toddler's closer to 3, because there's a lot more you can talk to them about and they'll understand versus a 18-month-old or a 2-year-old. So you need to talk to them about the transitions, that they're going to be moving to the big girl or big boy bed or whatever words you want to use. And that also you need to let them pick something out that's going to be theirs and something new about that transition, whether it be a new lovey, a new pillow, a new blanket. It can be little things, but something that they're going to get excited about to know that they're making that transition. It's going to be really important so they see that it's their space. Also, I find that to be a good time if you are in my Serenity Sleepers Facebook group. You can search in there, and I have all about a toddler bedtime box. I think this is a good age to change up some of your bedtime routine strategies when they are moving into the big next stage bed. I just think it gives them something new to look forward to versus if you're just, reading a book, singing a song, you can kind of change it up. So those are some of the things I would really focus on when you're talking about removing the swaddle and going to the sleep sack, and also transitioning to the toddler bed. Two of the biggest things I think you'll do. So you want to just make sure that you have a game plan going into it. The next question comes from Sarah. How do I get my 5-month-old to sleep on her own? She much prefers to sleep with or on someone, but Mama ain't got time for that. Hey, I understand that. I know it's hard, especially once they hit 3 months. So they're really 3 to 4 months is a huge game changer. They're growing, they're developing, they're really starting to change their sleep patterns. They're growing out of the newborn stage. They go in and out of sleep differently than they did as a newborn. The first thing I would really focus on is practicing laying him down, not in periods right when he's sleeping or when it's going to be sleepy time, because that's usually when you start to see a lot of extra fussy or crying because you're trying to do it when they're only sleeping. I think it's really helpful that during awake periods in the day when you find that he's most happy, trying to lay him down, just getting that separation from you and him. You can put him in the crib. I find it really helpful to have a mobile above the crib during the awake time like this, when you're just trying to practice him being somewhere else than on your arms or on top of you. Put him down in the crib, put the mobile on, have some sounds going, things that will kind of distract him. Start practicing that more and more during awake times when he's happy. Versus when you're just trying to do a nap and he's already tired, and then he gets overly tired and he gets cranky, or he's fully asleep and you're trying to put him down. That's what usually happens between 3 to 4 months, is you no longer can hold him to sleep, pat him to sleep, rock him to sleep, and then put him down. He's going to wake up because he fell asleep in your arms, or he fell asleep with you patting or rocking him, and he's looking for that when he wakes up. Now, beyond that, the next thing I would focus on is at bedtime. I would focus on really trying to practice after bedtime routine, laying him down when he's awake, not when he's asleep, or not when he's too heavily, going into heavily asleep periods. You want to practice that. He needs to have that practice of out of your arms when he's falling asleep. Bedtime's the best time to start practicing that, and the first nap of the day. Once you go throughout the naps of the day, the sleep gets harder. It's going to get harder for him to accept it. So I would focus on bedtime and the first nap of the day, practicing and letting him get used to being out of your arms. And again, you doing that during awake periods and having him, lay on his floor, tummy time more, laying him in his crib, having something that can distract him. Those awake periods when he's happy will help you once you get into so you can work on it at bedtime in that first nap of the day. Transitioning to a toddler bed, another one for a toddler. She doesn't like when we leave the room at bedtime, so I'm afraid she'll try and chase us out instead of laying down. So first you want to remember that you need to set up some kind of safety boundaries since she can get out of her bed. She's not in a crib anymore. So that means make sure that you're making sure that there's no furniture she can climb on in her room, nothing she could pull over, nothing that can harm her in her room. You want to make sure of that first. Then you need to set a safety boundary. Some children, it's as simple as you can simply say, it's the end of bedtime, I love you, night night, and shut the door. Others, you need a safety boundary, such as a gate up, or they make certain lock features where it actually doesn't shut and lock the door. It's just they can see in and out, but it creates them from leaving the bedroom. And again, this is truly biggest reason is for safety. Because when we have a 2 or 3 year old, the last thing we want is them wandering around the house at night or chasing you out, or, especially if you have stairs nearby, them hurting themselves. So you need to set up that safety boundary first and get them to understand the importance of why that's there and getting them settled into their routine. So definitely focus on that first. The next question, Jenna says she's always had a great sleeper, but within the past 2 weeks, her almost 9-month-old has been waking up a few times a night. One night was up for well over an hour and a half, and they couldn't console her. And last night, you had to rock and put her back in the crib, but she still cried a few minutes. Is this part of a regression? She's always been a great sleeper up until this point. So it could be a regression. So what happens is between 7 and 9 months, most babies are going down to 2 naps a day. I don't know if she's on 3 naps or if she is on 2 naps, but the naps usually affect it and can cause bumps in the overnight road. So the first thing I would want to know and want you to look at is her daytime sleep. Does she have proper wake windows? Is she got proper sleep in place? If she's on 2 naps a day, what time is that nap and how long are those naps? And then most importantly is her bedtime in a good spot. So if she wakes from her nap at 3:30, is she in the bed asleep by 7? Or is she in the bed asleep by 6:30? Make sure that she's got proper day sleep and good wake windows up until bedtime. When she wakes overnight, the biggest thing you don't want to do, because it can quickly become even one night become a problem of her looking for you to rock her back to sleep or rock her to help settle her. So you want to make sure that you keep those rocking sessions short and sweet, that you are, consoling her, letting her know you're there, you love her night, but that, you're not going to be fully rocking her to sleep or doing this multiple times in the night, because again, even one night, it can lead into 2 nights, which leads into 2 weeks, and then we just have a spiral that goes over and over again. So those are things that I would look for and the questions that I would ask, and say that probably it is a regression that happens in there. Also, the other reason we see a regression this age, because there's a lot of milestones and age-appropriate developments happening, such as they're starting to get up on all fours, they're starting to rock, they're starting to take those crawls, they're starting to kind of pull on things. They can have teeth happening in there. So all kinds of big developments are happening that can cause them to wake in the night. Also, if they're working on certain developments, such as trying to get up on all fours, trying to start crawling, those type of things, they're going to do it in their sleep because they spend the majority of their time sleeping. Those milestones are always being worked on during their sleep, and that's going to cause an issue for them if they're going through those things. All right, next question Karen has is, any tips for getting our 10-month-old twins back in their own beds? They used to sleep well, but since we've moved across the country and they've been teething nonstop, they both wake at some point in the middle of the night wailing and crying. So again, the first thing I would want to look at is how long y'all have been moved across the country. Is their internal clock adjusted to the new time zone? I don't know how long the time difference is there, but making sure that they're on your time zone now and if they've adjusted to that. Next, we want to look at their nap time. So at 10 months old, they're down to 2 naps a day. What time are those naps and how long are those naps? And then what time is bedtime? You really want to focus on, again, this kind of goes back to the question I just had about the almost 9-month-old. But for this one, you want to make sure that the twins are falling asleep on their own at bedtime. I assume they are in the same room, which can get tricky. If it's too bad that you see one twin is waking the other, a lot of times you need to separate sometimes when you're trying to work on things. If there's one twin that's really bothering the other twin, or she's the one that's waking up the other twin, sometimes there has to be a little separation while you're working on this middle of the night waking. When they wake in the middle of the night, the biggest thing is, how are you going to respond? I always say when they immediately wake, kind of give it a couple minutes to think about, okay, what's going on? What kind of waking is this? Is this a fussy wake? Is this just, I'm mad? Do I need to go in there? Assess what you're going to do. And then once you go in there, you can reassure them that you're there, you love them, but it's sleepy time. And trying to make the periods, it depends what you're doing. If you're trying to have more hands-on parent guiding, you're going to have to be in there maybe longer than expected because you're trying to help them back to sleep. But if you're using more hands-off approaches, you need to make sure you're not staying in the room too long because that overstimulates, especially at this age. But for this, for the last question and this question, I would really like to know more about the daytime sleep and how they fall asleep for naps, what time they're napping, how long their naps are, and what time's official bedtime and official wake up time in the morning. Those usually are going to be the reasons for why we see bumps in the road overnight. Or if we had good sleepers that are now not sleeping well, usually it's something in the daytime that we need to piece together the puzzles to figure out what's happening. All right, so I believe those were all the questions we had for today. A lot of great questions and a lot of, as you can see, there's a lot of things that I would need additional information on, or this is where sleep truly is a piece of a puzzle. You have an entire puzzle you're trying to put together, and there's so many pieces that you have to look at to make it come together. And you can talk to any of the clients I've worked with over the past almost 6 years, and it's always not just an easy, quick fix. I wish that was, but sleep is a science and it goes deeper. So when I work one-on-one with families, we really have to dig deep. And that's why I work with families for 30 days because we have so many sleep goals to meet and I have to figure out all the pieces of the puzzle and put them together. So a lot of you have reached out to me over the last couple years in this group, and the tips and the lives and the help and the resources I give you help your sleep issues and help a lot of the issues you have. But a lot of you have become clients because there was just so many pieces of the puzzle we needed to put together. And once we got it all going in the right direction in that 30 days, then we have little ones who are now sleeping very well. So if you have additional questions, feel free to let me know, DM me or comment, and I'll be happy to answer those. Again, I am filling up. I'm already booking. I've already got some clients on the books in the 1st of February. So things are already booking up quickly. People are really wanting to get sleep going in the right direction this year and not wait any longer, especially around the holidays. I've had 2 book clients from gifts for Christmas. So I love when there's a gift. I think there's no better gift than the gift of sleep. So be sure and sign up for those discovery calls. I would love to chat with you further and let's talk about how we can get you sleep back because there's nothing greater than getting sleep going in the right direction. I hope this was helpful and answered a lot of your questions. Again, if you have additional questions, comment or DM me and I'll be happy to answer those for you guys. Be sure and have a great rest of your week. I hope you have a great Christmas Eve, a great Christmas Day. Like I said, for Friday, for the live, I won't be doing a live Q&A that day, obviously. Feel free to post your questions, and I'll get back with you next week. And I hope you'll have great holidays, and look forward to continuing to help you guys through the end of this year and next year, and just continue helping getting sleep going in the right direction for everyone. I hope that your day goes well, and we will be chatting again soon.